Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are digging deep into the science of how habits actually get formed, all based on the fantastic work of Charles Duhigg. We're going to look at why some of the most common formulas for changing our lives just don't work, and we'll uncover the one secret ingredient that really drives everything we do every single day.
All right, let's just jump right in with a number, 7%. Back in the early 1900s, that's how many Americans actually had toothpaste in their homes. I mean, think about that. It was a product that pretty much nobody was using. So how did one person change all of that forever? Let's find out. So, this is the story of a guy named Claude Hopkins. He was an advertising genius, a real legend, and he took on a challenge that everyone else thought was impossible, selling Pepsodent toothpaste. Seriously, back then, trying to sell toothpaste was considered total financial suicide. The country had a massive dental health problem, but getting people to brush their teeth? No way. Hopkins had to sell something nobody even thought they needed.
Now, Hopkins was famous for his simple two-step formula. First, you have to find a really simple, obvious cue, a trigger. And second, you have to define a crystal-clear reward. So for Pepsodent, his strategy seemed almost too easy. He pointed to a universal cue, that little film you can feel on your teeth, and he promised a very appealing reward, a beautiful, sparkling Pepsodent smile.
And just like that, he built what looked like the perfect habit loop. The cue? Just run your tongue over your teeth and feel that film. The routine? Brush with Pepsodent. And the reward? A gorgeous, camera-ready smile. On paper, it was absolutely foolproof.
And the results? They were just staggering. I mean, look at this. In just 10 years, brushing your teeth went from being something really rare to a daily habit for more than half the entire population. Hopkins didn't just sell some toothpaste. He made Pepsodent a global phenomenon and became a millionaire in the process.
Okay, so if it's that easy, right? Cue, routine, reward. Why is it so hard for us to start new habits and stick with them? Well, it turns out Hopkins left us with the rules, but there was a huge piece of the puzzle missing. The real reason Pepsodent worked was something that even Hopkins himself didn't fully get.
So let's fast forward a bit, all the way to the 1990s. Procter & Gamble, a massive company, had invented a true miracle product. It was called Febreze. And this stuff could literally eliminate any bad smell from any fabric. It should have been a revolution, but instead it was a billion-dollar flop.
The marketing team at P&G was scratching their heads because they thought they had followed Hopkins's playbook perfectly. The cue was an obvious bad smell, from pets or cigarettes. The reward? A fresh, odor-free home. But it just wasn't working. Nobody was buying it. The bottles were just sitting on store shelves, literally collecting dust.
So, as they were doing their research, they stumbled on this huge, fundamental problem. They talked to the people who needed Febreze the most, like this one woman who had 9 cats, and they discovered that these people were so used to the smells in their homes, they couldn't even notice them anymore. The cue was totally invisible to them.
So what do? How do you build a habit when your main trigger doesn't even work? Well, the answer to P&G's massive problem, and the real secret behind Pepsodent's success, it lies deep inside the brain. And believe it or not, it was discovered by studying a monkey named Julio.
So there's this neuroscientist, Wolfram Schultz, and he was studying this exact neurological loop. He taught Julio the monkey a simple task. See some colored shapes on a screen, touch a lever, and if he did it right, he'd get a little drop of blackberry juice. It's a perfect little lab version of cue, routine, reward.
Okay, now here's where it gets really, really interesting. Take a look at what happened inside Julio's brain. In the beginning, his brain's pleasure centers lit up when he got the juice. That makes sense, right? But after he got the hang of it, something shifted. His brain started going wild the moment he saw the shapes on the screen. His brain learned to anticipate, to actually crave that reward before it even showed up.
And that right there, that's the missing ingredient. This anticipation, this neurological craving, it's the engine that actually drives the whole habit loop. It isn't just about getting a reward at the end. It's the expectation of that reward that makes us do the routine without even thinking about it.
This idea of craving is what makes all the difference. It's what separates a habit that sticks from one that fails. Both Pepsodent and Febreze only took off once they managed to tap into this powerful force, whether they knew it or not. So let's go back and look at those stories with this new piece of information.
You see, it turns out Hopkins wasn't really selling beautiful teeth. He was selling a sensation.
Pepsodent had ingredients like mint oil and citric acid, and they created this cool, tingly feeling on your tongue and gums, and people started to connect that feeling with being clean.
It got to the point where people would actually miss that tingle if they forgot to brush. They started to crave that little bit of irritation because it was the signal that their mouth was truly clean. That craving is what kept them coming back, day after day after day.
And eventually, P&G had the exact same breakthrough. They completely changed their strategy. They stopped selling Febreze as a product that gets rid of a bad thing and started selling it as a product that adds a good thing. They added perfumes and marketed it as the perfect finishing touch to your cleaning routine.
And this was absolutely the key. Think about it. Nobody craves the absence of a smell. That's not a thing. But what we do crave is that satisfying, pleasant scent of a freshly cleaned room. Febreze became the little celebration at the end of all your hard work, a reward your brain learned to look forward to. And guess what? Sales went through the roof. So here we have it, the full, complete formula for making a habit stick. It's not just 3 steps, it's 4. You absolutely need a cue, a routine, and a reward. But to make that loop run on autopilot, you have to build in that 4th crucial piece, the craving.
So if you're trying to build a new habit, say exercising more, the formula is exactly the same. Pick a cue, like leaving your running clothes out, define a reward, like a delicious smoothie afterward, but then, and this is the secret sauce, you have to actively focus on that reward. Think about it. Imagine how good it's going to feel. Let your brain start to crave that endorphin rush or that tasty smoothie until the whole loop just happens on its own.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? Take a second to think about your own day. From that first cup of coffee in the morning to mindlessly scrolling on your phone at night. What are the little invisible cravings for that caffeine hit, for a moment of distraction, or maybe even for a tingly sensation that are secretly running your life without you even noticing?